What is up, gearheads and grease monkeys? My name is Mr. Moose, and we're back in the garage today for some more Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. Well, it's been about a week since our last build when we wrapped up the Corvette restoration, and I needed that time away from the game just to let the developers fix some of the bugs that had reared their ugly head during that build. Because I gotta be honest with you, that build was a little bit frustrating for me. When parts start disappearing out of your inventory, it really starts throwing you off your game. And I made a lot of mistakes in that video because of it. When I do these videos, I don't have a script. I don't have anything to go off of. And most of the time, I'm thinking like 2-3 steps ahead of the time. Like, where am I going to go after I finish putting this part off? What am I going to do next? What am I going to do after that? What am I going to talk about when I get to that point? How am I going to keep this video interesting? And so I'm usually thinking about that. But when something like happened in that last video rears its ugly head, it really throws me off because I start festering on what just happened. And I started thinking to myself, you know, was there really a brake caliper there? Did I actually see that brake caliper? Was it in my inventory, or did I imagine it? Did I hit the enter button? Did I actually buy the part? Am I imagining that these parts are disappearing, or are they actually vanishing from my inventory? And has this screwed this video up? And what do I, you know, how am I going to recover from this? And I hate to showcase all this stuff in a video but you know, it is what it is. And so all that stuff gets in the back of my head, and instead of paying attention to what I'm doing, I kind of get sidetracked and mistakes get made, and it is what it is. And unfortunately with this game, there's no way for me to stop and go, well, I screwed that up, I need to go back and re-record it, because there is no game save to back up to. When you stop, you stop. You're where you're at. It's constantly saving. So I can't really pick up where I last left off. And you know, there's no do-overs. So the mistakes you make stay with you. And it's not like I can dismiss the video and go, oh, well, you remember that Corvette build that I started last week, and you guys, you know, 10,000 of you watched, you know, the initial build. Well, the second part of it, well, I did it, and I had some problems with the video, and but it looked great, and I finished it up, and I made a whole lot of money off of it, and I just never put it up for you guys because I wasn't really proud of it. So yeah, mistakes were made. I acknowledge the mistakes in the video, but even though I do that, there are going to be those who hype on the mistakes and jump all over me and take shots at me because I get something wrong, even though I acknowledge it later on down the line. So is what it is. But yeah, that's sort of frustrating because you know it's going to happen, and you're like, I don't want to record any more videos until they fix all these problems in the game, so I can at least focus on what I'm doing and not get sidetracked. So that's the reason we haven't really done a video in a week, and hopefully a lot of that stuff has gone away. I've done a little bit of gameplay this week just to see where we're at. We're on version 1.2.0. That's 4 updates since our last video. Some minor changes to the game to get rid of those little bugs. There's still some inventory issues. They still haven't fixed the duplicate fender body parts issue, but they did put a nifty little sell all button in here into the inventory system. They also came over here to the paint booth and added in the ability for you to spray individual parts again. This had been disconnected or taken out of the game or locked out because there were some problems with it, with parts just vanishing or not appearing on the car or whatever. So they took that away and they've added it back in, which gave me the ability to test it. And now I can definitively tell you, no, you cannot spray engine parts, which is a complete letdown. I know a lot of us wanted to be able to spray our engine block, timing chain cover, valve covers, things like that, to be able to get a custom color for your block, maybe to, you know, match what the engine block should have been from the factory or whatever, or even just to change it up. Like, I'm not really in love with the blue engine, even though this is modeled after a Ford and it's got that Ford blue in there. I'm not a big fan of it. I'd rather have like a black engine block on there instead of that blue one. That would be my preference on that, but I can't change that in the game, so I'm stuck with what the engine, what they give me. What I can do is I can spray body parts individually in here, which is a great idea, but it's also not really executed very well. And to show you why, I'm going to go into the inventory. I'm going to buy a body panel for this particular truck. So this is the Smith. And we'll just buy a hood for it. No biggie. And we're going to go in here and we're going to color match it to the truck and we're going to paint it, right? So there it is. It's in a nice little gray right now. We're going to paint it to color match it to put it on that truck. So we're going to make it metallic and we're going to make it red. And what you're going to see is there's absolutely no way for me to color match that truck. It's impossible because I don't have a color picker to choose from for that particular truck. Even if I go pull the truck in here and I lock the color in off of the truck, it goes away as soon as I go to that body panel. The only thing that is referenced in the color in the paint scheme is the color of the hood currently. It doesn't give me a reference for anything else. So it's impossible for me to color match the truck and do anything with it. The only thing that makes that beneficial is if I wanted to go for some crazy like two-tone paint scheme where the body was red but all the fenders were white, or all the fenders were black, or you know, vice versa, or something like that. If you wanted to go with some sort of paint scheme like that, that's the only reason, the only way that it really makes any sense to use it. Otherwise, it's kind of a worthless feature. Would have been cool, but it's not really. So anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. The real thing that I want to go over today in this video, and as the title suggests, is barn finds. In the time that I haven't been playing the game, I have been playing the game. I've just been playing a different account, and I've been really looking into barn finds because a lot of people are a little bit lost on the barn finds. They don't know a whole lot about the mechanics on it. There's some conflicting information about how many barn finds there are, how they're generated. Some people are saying they're randomly generated, they come and go. Other people are saying, well, there's an infinite number of barn finds, there's a limited number of barn finds. So I really delved into it quite a bit over the last week to try and find out the truth about it and come up with a strategy to make barn finds profitable in the game. Now, in the process of doing that, they went and jacked the prices of the barn finds way down. So it's almost not even beneficial to have to worry about some of this stuff, but it is useful to know how the mechanics work in the game so that you yourself, when you're playing, can come up with a strategy to utilize the barn finds to or to at least maximize them, right? And this is really good information if you're starting the game off right from the scratch. Maybe not so much if you're at the level I'm at right now, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it with you today. Now you see I only got 2 barn finds on my map. I'm level 31. I've only got 2 of them. That's because I have squandered away all of my barn finds. And the reason I did that was because people were constantly wanting to see the barn finds. They were constantly wanting to go to a barn and look at the barns, and I didn't have enough money to buy them because the prices on the barn finds were astronomical. They were like $40,000 for a barn find, and that was a little bit crazy, and honestly I didn't have the money for it. And when I go to a junkyard and buy one for $13,000, it made no sense for me to buy it out of a barn find. Since then, they have hit the barn finds with the old Nerf stick, or in this case we'll call it the Nerf sledgehammer, and what used to cost you $40,000 in there, it might cost you $18,000 in a barn. I mean, I've seen cars down to as low as $8,000 in the barns now. So you can pretty much get a good deal on the cars in the barn finds now, but I would still say early on in the game, stay away from the barn finds, and this is the reason why. You get your first barn find when you hit level 6. It'll come up as an individual barn on your map, and that will be the only one you get. And if you jump on over there, as soon as you go into it, regardless of whether you buy a car or not, it comes off of your map and it's gone. And you've used that opportunity to buy a car out of a barn find. Whereas if you wait a little bit, when you've got some money, you might actually be able to take advantage of that barn find. Whereas if level 6, you're probably not going to even have the $8,000 saved up to buy a car on the low side, let alone something that's $18,000. So even though it pops up on your map at level 6, you probably want to resist the urge to go visit it until you've accumulated a little bit of money. My recommendation is you don't even go visit it until about level 25, and I'll explain why. At level 6, you will get your first one, and then every level after that, you're going to get an additional barn. And they will accumulate all the way until you reach the max level of 61 in the game. That's going to give you the opportunity to discover 55 barns in the game. However, the map only has spawn locations for 20 barns. So that means when you get to level 25, 26, you're almost going to have this map completely full. At level 26, you will have the map completely full. You'll have all 20 barn locations discovered on your map. You're still going to have an additional 35 to come, but at that point you'll have all the spawn locations covered. And that's when you need to start actually looking at the barns, because you need to make room for the new barn levels as you continue to level up. So at 26, you will have 20 barns on the map. If from 26 forward you visit at least one barn, you'll take it off of the map, and then when you go to 27, that barn will get replaced with a new one. You following me? So if you don't take one off of the map, when you go from 26 to 27, there's no room for it to spawn on the map, so therefore that barn doesn't spawn for you. So at 25, 26, you want to start exploring your barns. That's one reason why. Here's the other reason why. If we come over here to our toolbox, and we look at our perks that we get. At level 5, we get our max level repair perk, which is recycling. That gives us a 95% chance to repair the parts that come off of our vehicle. So we're going to have the maximum chance to salvage a part, so we don't have to spend money on it. Now the other thing is, and a lot of people don't realize this about the game mechanic, is when you buy your repair bench, you're only given so many parts that you can repair. And that's not a numerical value, that's the parts that are coming off the car. Like you can repair the wheels, the rims, or you can repair the brake calipers. But at level 5, or level 1 as it is, repair value, you get a 55 chance to repair. But you're also not going to get the chance to repair an engine block, or a set of valve a set of heads. That's not going to come until you get later up here. So in the early stages, you've only got so many parts that you're going to repair anyways. So why go get a barn find that you can't repair most of the parts on there? Sure, you got a 65% chance to repair it at level 7, but you're not going to have that many parts coming off of the car that you actually get to take to the to the repair table to repair. So why not just wait? You got 20 spots that you can put on the map to fill up before you really actually have to do it. And during that time, you can accumulate quite a bit of money doing the jobs that you need to do. And again, I told you the junkyard opens for you at level 13. At level 13, you can go start picking parts out of the junkyard, and you can bring those back, repair them, sell them, make some money so that you can actually afford to go purchase the cars out of the barn. And the more money that you have, the better off you are, because in the barns you can have 1, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 vehicles in there. And so if you go into that barn with a good nest egg, you may be able to buy every car in there. Whereas if you rush in there, you might barely have enough money to buy one car out of there. So, showing a little patience, you can maximize out all your barn finds. You can make the most amount of money off of them. And remember, you've only got a limited opportunity here. So, use them wisely. And again, if you're just in a hurry to start doing some restoration projects, you can always pull a junker out of the junkyard at level 13. So, again, hold off. A good strategy. Hold off until you get to level 25 before you start finding your first one. And then again, I told you there's only 20 spawn locations. So at level 25, start pulling one barn find off the map before you level up each time. So when you hit level 26, go visit a barn. Maybe buy a couple of cars out of there. Work on those, fix them up, repair them, and then level up to 27. At 27, you get a new barn. Go pick another one off the map. Go visit it. Pull a car out of there. Maybe you don't pull a car out of there. You level up to 28. Rinse and repeat. And just keep doing that. Keep the map full of cars. Now, again, I told you they've hit the price of the cars with a Nerf stick. And they've really lowered them down. There is a perk at level 40 called My Friend that actually lowers the price of the car by 50%. I think that's broken now. I think they messed that up when they hit the when they pulled out the old Nerf sledgehammer. But before, that would actually make the cars, you know, profitable for you. I don't think it works as much anymore. I think they kind of screwed that up when they adjusted the prices down to the value of what they are in the junkyard. So maybe they'll revisit that. If they do, then at 40 you can save that much more money. So just keep that in mind. But a good strategy would be fill the map up, and then once the map is full of spots at level 25, start visiting one barn per level, and that way you're making room for the next one to come on there. And if you don't do it at 25, you have to do it at 26. You know, start hitting them at 26, and then that way as they come off of there, they'll fill up. Now, the one thing I didn't try was like to go a couple of levels and then pick a couple of barns and to see if the next time I leveled up, 2 more would appear. I didn't try that aspect of it. You might give that a try if you're just kind of wanting to do a little testing on your own. But I know for a fact that there's only 20 locations. And just to be safe than to be sorry, you might want to start at 26, you know, visiting a barn and making room for your new ones to appear. So, but anyways, you've only got that until you get to level 61, and then you don't get any more appear on your map. Now, they could change all this. They could do a patch and fix it to where it becomes random, or they could fix it to where, you know, every 1,000 points or something you get a new barn find. To me, I don't like the idea of them being limited. If you play this game for any kind of time, if you max out at 61 and you continue to play the game, you should still get some barn finds periodically into the game. So I'd like to see them adjust the mechanics on it, but until then, we're stuck with it the way it is. So we're going to jump over here to a barn find. The other little piece of advice I would give you is, you know, if you're going to, when you do start doing your barn finds, make sure you have at least 3 spots in your garage open, you know, in your parking garage open, so that you can put the barn finds in there. Because, you know, you may end up with a car like this with only 1 car in here. You may end up with a barn with 5 cars in there. You just never know. So here is one of the Bolt Hellcats, I believe this is. Yeah, it's the Hellcat. And as you can see, the price on this is now only $14,678. Before, this was a $28,000, $30,000 car in a barn find. So as you can see, they've really adjusted it down. And this is in pretty decent shape. It's missing a window back here. It's got all the body parts are here. Let's look at the interior on it. It's actually in pretty good shape as far as all the body parts and everything. And then we see the engine looks pretty complete as well. All the valve covers are on it. So this is actually for $14,000. You know, it's a pretty good buy. And we're going to go ahead and buy it regardless, because I'll be honest with you. If I started all over today and I started leveling up through the game, the strategy I would use was I wouldn't touch my barn finds until 25. At 13, I'd start going to the junkyards, picking the junkyards, getting all the parts out of there, selling those, making some money. Accumulate a couple $100,000, and then when I started doing my barn finds at 25, I'd buy every car in the garage. As long as it was something that appealed to me, I'd buy them all. I'm not going to buy an RX-3. It just doesn't appeal to me to build one of those, especially some of these other one-off cars that they've got in the game that are no-name, like little, you know, almost like Pintos and stuff. I got no interest in. But, you know, when I find stuff like this, or like the 57 Chevy, the custom that's in the game, I'm going to buy those regardless, you know, because if I do that strategy, then I'm buying those cars and I'm going to actually do something with them. So we're going to put this in the garage and we're actually going to start working with it. And then I could also afford to pick all the parts in here. Now the parts are still, they're still pretty high. They say they adjusted some of the parts, but you know, you're here, you might as well pick the parts as well. Take them back, fix them, get your money out of them. And then that way you can use the parts that the money that you get out of these parts to, you know, maybe afford some of the parts that you have to replace on the car that you just bought. So that's a, you know, decent little strategy for you. You may find a part out of here that you can use. Never know. And they're still not ridiculous. You usually come out of here after you buy all the parts about $1,000. So we'll return to the garage now, and $1,300 for the parts that we bought. Now we could probably sell them for $8,000, $9,000 in profit. So that's not too terrible. So we'll let the game reload, and then we'll see what our Hellcat is. Now the nice thing about them revaluing the cars and lowering the price on them, you actually have the opportunity now to be right side up on the car versus being upside down when you come out of there. Most of the time when you did a barn find, you would come in upside down, and by that I would mean you'd pay more for the car than the car is actually worth. You actually have the ability now to get these at a margin that is probably a little bit better for you. So we paid $14 for it, and it's actually worth $14,399. So we're pretty much even on this car. And to be honest with you, if I take it over here and put it on the lift, if I clean it up, I'm probably going to be ahead on this car. So if I wanted to do a quick flip on it, I probably could. Let's move the welder over, and we'll move the upholstery or the detailing kit. We'll move it over. I mean, that's really what I think of this thing as. When I see spray, a vacuum, and a whole bunch of sponges, this looks like a, you know, interior detailing kit, upholstery kit. All right, so again, just to make sure I get the prices right, and hopefully I don't screw this up this time. Oh, we lost value on the car. $14,392. We spank it with a welder. I don't think we're gonna actually get anything out of it by doing it. So we spent $1,000, and the value of the car is $15,000. So we didn't get quite what we put into it with actually using the welder. We only got about $700 profit out of it, but it's still an improvement on the car. And then when we come over and detail it for $100, we end up with $15,700. So we still didn't get that much value out of it. I have, in my messing around testing this stuff, I've actually, like, I've used the upholstery kit before and brought the overall value of the car up to almost $3,000 before. I messed around with this quite a bit testing to see if, like, if I went to the, because I got $500,000 now, right? I do all kinds of little silly stuff. I'll go to the auction and buy a car, come back, see whether I'm upside down or right side up on it, and then, you know, maybe only change like 3 things on it, see if I can sell it for a profit. And I've been able to actually do it a couple of times. There's been a couple of times where I've bought a car at auction, brought it back. The only thing I did was run the upholstery, the interior detailing kit on it, increased the value by $3,000, and then just turned around and sold it immediately. That's one of those things that would be cool if it was more consistent in the game, that you could do things like that. It would also be cool if some of the stuff on here had more value to it. I can tell you right now, after messing around with the game a little bit more, there's not much value I can add into this car by doing just body work on it. Most of the stuff is going to come off the engine. This is going to have a complete engine rebuild on it. But just for giggles, let me repair everything that's in here real quick, clear my inventory out before we start messing with the car, because I don't want the inventory in here to, mess with the inventory out there. So let's go ahead and repair all this up. All right, so, and just because I don't care about any of these parts, I just picked them because of the chance to pick them. We've got $5,800 or $583,000, and I'm going to hit the sell all button here. Do you want to sell all these parts? Yes, do. And we made 2,600 bucks. So, not what I thought I'd get out of it, but I guess I was a little ambitious in that. But that clears out our inventory. So now we can expose the body panel bug that's in the game. We're going to take all the doors off of this. I'm not going to really mess with the glass. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen a huge... I haven't seen where glass makes a huge impact in the value of the car. Just hadn't seen it. I can go around and do all this and everything, and even this I don't think will make a massive improvement in the price of the car. It will be okay, but it's not going to be a massive improvement on the car, because a lot of these, like, that's 98, that's pretty good. The body panels are actually in pretty decent shape. The bumpers were the worst part. All right, so we'll put that on. Like I said, there's not going to be a whole lot of money in the car itself as far as the body. The money is going to be in restoring the engine, getting it up and running. Which, you know, if you're doing a barn find and you know, really want to make some money off of it, that's actually a good thing for you. If you don't have to do a whole lot of body work, if all your work has to be, you know, working on the motor and such like that, that actually pays off for you. Don't have that piece of glass, and I don't want to buy that piece of glass yet. Let's go ahead and put that trunk on, and we'll put that on here, and we'll go ahead and put the license plate back in, and we'll put the tail lamps in. See, now they're not even in bad shape. I mean, this would be a good flip car. All right, so with all that done, we look at the price on the car, and probably going to be exactly the same. $15,700. It really just doesn't do anything for you on that. Of course, painting the car is going to add a lot of value into it, but well, it's not going to add any value to it either, to be honest with you. If we take the car and go ahead and move it over there, it's going to cost me $1,000 to paint it, and it's not really going to add any value to it. So we'll move it over, and we'll go over here and knock it out in the paint body shop. It'd be nice. This is one of those places where if we could color match, it would be nice to be able to, you know, just paint the door and get the color, the door painted. Then we wouldn't have to, we really wouldn't have to mess with it. But yeah, $1,000 paint job. Psst, done. Does that improve the value of the car from $15,700? No. Still $15,730. So you would think painting it would add to it, but it really doesn't. These are little things I've learned messing around with it. Even glass. You would think going and upping all the glass to 100% on it would add a whole lot of money to the car, and it doesn't. It really doesn't do a whole lot of it. And we've got that one panel of glass missing. If I add it in, I'm probably not going to up the value of the car either. Is it right there that needs it, or is it over here? Yeah, it's right there. So that's going to be right rear, or right glass A or whatever. So let's jump into the body shop, and we'll buy that piece of glass for the Hellcat. Hellcat! And that is right rear A. There we go. 76 bucks for it. Will that put $76 worth of value into our car? Nope. Don't think so. 15.7.3, we're still 15.7.3. It just doesn't do it. It's if your body is in bad shape, below 90%, then there's value. Even below 80%, it's got to be below 80. Then there's some value in there for you. If not, there's not a whole lot of value in there other than just you can do that 100% restoration on it. But other than that, is what it is. So, but now we got our little project car that we're going to work on, and we'll fix this Hellcat up, and it's going to be the same old story as we did before. It'll be pull out the drive shaft, and we'll pull the engine. I'll take the tranny off of it, get the starter and the transmission, all that off of it. Then we'll pull the engine, and we'll put her up on the engine stand, rebuild the engine, and we'll go from there. So, but the whole point of today's video really is to show you guys the barn finds and give you the information on the barn finds. That way, especially for those who are starting off early in the game, that you guys will know what you're looking at with the barn finds, and you'll be able to utilize them much better than I was. Now, again, I knew I was wasting a lot of my opportunities with the barn finds, just because people would come into the live streams and everything and constantly be asking for the ability to see this or that, you know. Oh, I want to see how you do this part of the, you know, the game. Okay, well, I do it, and then, you know, we'd end up, you know, going over there and taking a look and not buying anything. And there's probably a dozen to maybe 2 dozen barn finds. Well, I wouldn't say 2 dozen. There'd be at least a dozen barn finds that I went through and never did a thing with, just because I was showcasing them to people in the live streams. So, but even so, like, if I knew what I did now at level 6, I wouldn't even visit one. Let's see, pull the motor. Thank you very much. And then come over here, mount the motor. Yep, that's the one I want. Excellent. And let's see, we need to rotate the motor where it sits right up. There we go. And then we can get that out of the way, because I won't be using it anytime soon, because this car will end up going up to the parking deck, as I will definitely need a couple of episodes to do this. All right, take off the serpentine belts. Then we can start pulling the water pump. We'll need a new pulley, as always. New belts, new pulleys, pretty much every time. Yep. Pull off the timing chain, even though we established in the last one that's not really the way that happens. There we go. Get that. Jerk off the button. Actually, I mean, you just pull the whole assembly. The button wouldn't come off there. It would matter later on down the line. Oops, that shouldn't have come out yet. That was a mistake. Yeah, I shouldn't have pulled the cam until I've pulled the heads. Oh well. Mistakes were made. It's easy to do that in this game because you're just kind of going through there, and I mean, like, you don't even have to follow a bolt pattern. There's certain ways you want to, you know, there's certain ways you want to torque down your valve covers so they don't leak, as well as, you know, any of your intake exhaust manifolds so they don't warp. There's a certain bolt pattern that you want to go with each of them. And I don't even follow that in the game. Sometimes I will, sometimes I'll try to replicate it. Sometimes I just don't care. I'm just like going through the motions. These are annoying. Best thing I've found with these rocker arms is to come down to where they're actually sitting on the valve and do it there. If you try to do it in the middle, it just doesn't seem to register as well as you come down here on the little tips of them. Seems like that's the best place to go to get it selected so you can take them out. They're especially touchy. That's another thing. Somebody went off on me in the last video, I guess, because I kept saying I wouldn't do this in real life. I wouldn't do it this way in real life. He was like, stop saying that. It's a video game. Well, yeah, it is a video game. But it's how you want to make it, you know? You want it to be as close to, you know, real life. If you want to just blow through it and do it however you want to do it, that's your prerogative. Me, I like to do it a little bit more realistic. I like to be a little bit closer to what I would in real life. And I think it's, you know, some people like to know that information. Some of these people watching these videos have never even seen a car rebuilt or even messed around with a car before and have been curious about it. And other than sitting through a YouTube video on somebody actually doing one, this is the closest they ever get to it. Yeah, I know it's not. It ain't accurate, but, you know, doesn't hurt to try to play as close to it as you can. It's just like, you know, when you put the wheels on the car, you know, you could easily just tighten all the lugs up going around in a circle on it. Or on these, you could just go straight down the line, just like so, tightening them up. It's, you know, to pretend that you're actually working on a real car and you're doing it somewhat the way that you would in real life. Even though we know that there's, you know, a lot more bolts that you have to put on these things in real life than that are in the game. Doesn't hurt to communicate those things to people. They might find it interesting. And I may say the same things in every video about certain things. Like, even though there's a, you know, bearing here, there should be one right up here as well. There's actually your main bearing. It's about twice as wide as that one is. Has front seals on it, as well as the bearing. It's got some little rubber gaskets that have to go in there. That's the things I really wish these guys would sit down and, instead of putting hokey crap in the game like a racetrack, I really wish they would take the time to go in and be more detailed with the game. You know, they got a great product. They've done a really good job with it, right? Go ahead and say, you know what we're going to do to improve the game in 2019 is, instead of putting hokey crap in like a dyno, or going in there and putting in a racetrack that's completely worthless, or a car salon so you can buy a brand new car at sticker price, how about we actually focus on improving the simulation of the game and put more into it? That would be cool. It'd be too much to ask though. Oh, I meant to look real quick. Let's see if we got duplicate body parts. See, that's, like I said, there's still inventory glitches in the game. All of our body parts are hung, but yet we have duplicates of all of it in my inventory still. Silly, silly. All right, so I'm gonna go for 100% restoration on all of this. So we're just gonna bang away at it without any care, and then we'll evaluate what we won and lost on when we get to the very end. Dum dum dum. All right, so let's sort by quality. Like here, fix this, please. I want to be able to see the words. Stop making me have to guess. All right, so see, I don't even know. I don't know whether this got repaired. If I see something at 36%, that might as well be 100% because I don't know for sure whether that's fixed or not. It's still not updating in the inventory. We can try to go to the we can try the old save game or log in, log out, or go up to the parking garage thing and come back and see if it updates the inventory, but that's, again, it's still not fixed. And that frustrates me. That's what I want to see them focused on fixing instead of the stupid stuff they've been doing. But, you know, people sit in the forums and they bitch and moan because there's no racetrack in the game or because the car salon's not in the game. So instead of focusing on fixing the truly important things in the game and getting the gameplay proper, the developers get sidetracked and they go work on crap that nobody needs in the game, i.e. the racetrack and the car salon. If you can't tell, I'm not really happy with the fact that they took the time to do that because it's just a waste of time. Looks like it did actually update now. So, all right. So all the stuff that didn't really look like it was repaired, I don't think actually repaired. So, all right. So we're going to sort by name now, and that way I can actually look through all this stuff and get an idea of what repaired. So we have a camshaft, but we don't, of course, we don't have a cam gear that's any good. Carburetor's good. We got 2 clips. Clutch is good. Pressure plate's bad. You should be able to rebuild the pressure plate. I don't understand why you can't ever do that. Throwout bearing, no, but crankshaft is good. We got 2 bearings. We need a 3rd. The pulley is usually always bad on that. Harmonic balancers, you know, that's one thing that doesn't really ever go out on a car. If they do, that little rubber in between the two of them, they'll separate and then it'll just free spin. Drive shaft's good, engine block's good, both heads are good, both covers are good, the one exhaust manifold we have is good. You should be able to fix the flywheel as well, because flywheels, unless they warp, they don't really go bad either. So never had an issue with a flywheel going bad. Yeah. So usually something you don't have to worry about. Let's see. Transmission's good. We're going to need a new distributor. Distributor cap. Intake manifold's good. We'll replace all the pistons and rings as we did the last time. Radiator, steering pump, radiator fan's good. We'll put new rocker arms in. Rod caps, looks like we need to replace 1, 2, 3. Did I see 3 we need to do? 1, 2 rocker caps. We're good with our air filter system. Man, we got away with a lot on this one. Always need serpentine belts, timing chain cover, we're going to need. We're also going to need our timing chain and our gear. And then we'll put all new push rods in. Water pump's actually good too. And we usually always have to replace the water pump pulley as well. I probably have the timing chain cover in supplies, so we could go get that out of there. So let's go, now that we kind of have an idea of what we got, what we don't have, we'll come over to the warehouse and we'll sit through the indexing, which again, it'd be nice if there was some kind of graphic up here or whatever. The indexing thing drives me nuts, but I guess I can deal with it. But the black screen drives me bonkers. It just seems like all this was an afterthought. It could have brought up the inventory system and had that. I liked it the way it was before, where it was populating slowly and surely. And then once it all populated in, then you could go through there. Here's a crankshaft bearing cap. I know I need that. All right, engine parts. And this is where it's going to drive some people nuts, but I'm just going to scroll through here and look for the couple of pieces that I need. Because there might be one or two things that I can use, like yeah. Timing chain cover, got it. What else? What else might we find in here that we can use? Oh, we need an oil pan too. So see, it's good that you sort of go through here and you find the things that you might not have seen. I need an exhaust manifold if I happen to see an exhaust manifold that's any good. And I believe that is exhaust manifold for, it looks like a set of headers, I believe. I got one. Come on, where'd it go? There, yeah. Looks like a set of headers. But I have it in a performance part. If I remember correctly, I don't have another one. No biggie. That's really about it. I might need the ignition wires. Doesn't seem like I saw ignition wires, so we'll grab those. Starters off of a different car. I didn't have a starter on this one, so we're gonna need a starter. And I know I don't have a starter for this one. We had both valve covers were good. Serpentine built A. Is that 100%? And I know I don't have that, right? Because I always have to replace the serpentine belt. Just to verify though. Yeah, that's the right one. Wow, I don't have to buy that. Got lucky there. Don't know where I came up with one from, but I have one. I still have to get serpentine belt B now. All right, so that's all the parts that we got in there. So then we go to our tablet and we'll start buying all the other parts. And again, just to drive some people crazy. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so starting from the top, working our way down, we're going to hit the first thing that we should hit would be the cam. And let's see, that cam right there we need. That's it. And then we'll come on down a little bit lower in here. The next thing we need, I found that camshaft bearing, so that's fine. I don't need it. I do need the crankcase or the crankshaft pulley. Then we'll come on down here. We have to buy the exhaust manifold because we didn't have one of those. We will need a fuel filter. I don't have to worry about the fuel pump. I should be able to repair it. Then as we come on down, we need a fuel tank. I know that for sure. Ignition coil, we had one. We need the distributor cap. Button we had. We're good with that. I think we got the right distributor. After I did it, I kind of looked at it and thought maybe I got the wrong one. So I'm not sure. 8 of these that we need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Need 8 of these. Oops, that was only 1. I need 7 more. There we go. Come on down here. Rocker arms. We need 16 of these. Now I need 15. Got a little happy on the enter key. I need 3 of these. Or was it 2 of those? I might have an extra one. Round air filter 1 carburetor. I need that. Then we need serpentine belt B for the V8 overhead valve, which should be looking like that. Which should be over there. 8 spark plugs. Again. So when I do this, one of the tricks I've found is just to keep my hand on the enter key, and then I can just select the part and then smack the enter key, and then I get it. I'm pretty sure I need a starter. And what else do we need here? I need timing chain for the V8 overhead valve. Got that. Timing chain cover. Ooh. Did I find one of those? I think I found one of those. I'm going to say I found one of those. And we're just going to go with it as is. Need 16 of these. Let's get those purchased. There we go. And what else do we need? We need pulley, as always. Should be everything that we need right now for that part of it. Gearbox wise, we need the pressure plate, throw out bearing, and the flywheel. And that should be enough. I think that's enough. We'll see as we jump in here and start a rebuild. And here we go. Let's put our camshaft in. There we go. And let's go ahead and get out of that. Go ahead and put our bearings in. So this video might be a little bit longer than we normally do, but then we'll do this the same way as we did the vat. We'll do half the video on the engine, and then we'll come back. Part 2 will be the undercarriage, and we'll get that done. So might even come up a little bit shorter on the engine, getting it completely built. We might take a little break here and do the engine build in part 2, part 2, because I did yak for quite a bit in the beginning about the barn finds, and that took quite a bit of time. All right, so let's go ahead and put these rod caps on. Anyways, hope you guys are still enjoying the videos. I'm blown away by the number of people who watched the first 2 videos, or the last couple of videos on the vet. Couldn't believe that many people watched it, and appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching. Hopefully y'all continue to enjoy the videos, and we'll keep on doing this. I'm not going to abandon it. I know I've heard some other people say, well, the numbers are already starting to dwindle down on the viewerships, and so I'm going to stop doing these videos. Probably, you know, or won't do as many videos. I enjoy this game. I'll probably play it, and you know, we'll probably at least go through each of the cars, build each of the cars out, and mess around with them. And there's a couple of cars that I've already built that I still need to go back and do videos on, that I did in live streams that people probably haven't seen. The RX-7 being one of them. I'd like to redo that vid. I hate when I do that. I forget to put it back into assembly mode. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Get just a little bit of that profile. There we go. Now we'll spin around and hit this. But yeah, I'd like to do the RX-7 build again. that was fun. I don't think most people have ever seen the inside of a rotary engine. So even, you know, it's not completely modeled right, but it's still modeled pretty nice. I think a lot of people enjoyed that part of it. So we might rebuild the RX-7. What cars do you guys want to see built? That's my question. Alright, camshaft goes in. We're going to put the old pan in too. So many more bolts than just 6 bolts to hold an oil pan on. Kind of fun. All right, rotate that way. There we go. Excellent. All right, so that's good stuff there. Let's go ahead and put let's go ahead and put our timing chain cover on. Not timing chain cover. Let's go ahead and put the cam gear and the timing chain on, because that would need to be the next step before we actually dove into the world of putting the heads on and all that other stuff. I think we covered that the last time. You got to get your timing. The timing between the cam and the crankshaft has to be set with the placement of the cam gear. So that's how all that happens. And then the cam drives the distributor, and that is what makes the spark for the spark plugs. And when you adjust the timing on a car, on the older ones, the way you adjust the timing is you advance or retard the spark on the distributor cap. But if you don't have the timing for when the valves are going to open and close with the stroke of the piston, if you don't have all that lined up, which is driven off the timing chain, then it's all for nothing. So that's what that whole step is all about. And then once you get that done, then you're good to go. Unless you put the distributor in backwards, which I've done that before. I've put the distributor in and thought I had it in right. You either put it in right or you put it 180 degrees out of whack. But you just got to pull it out, spin the base, and then put it back in and get it back all where it's supposed to be. But I've done that before. I've built an engine and had the firing 180 degrees out of whack. Gives you a nice big huge backfire when you do that. Car won't start. Boy, it'll wake the neighbors up. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and put these on. It's just easier to get to them. All right, put this hat on. You know, little things like, it'd be cool to actually have to put all your gaskets in. You know, you have to put your head gasket in there so that put it in place and then set the head on top of it. Little things like that, if they model into it, being that much nicer. And that's where I'd like to see the developers spend their time in this game, other than have to put gizmos in. I mean, yeah, dyno is cool, but actually letting people, go through the steps involved in putting a car together for real would be kind of cool. You got to put your head gasket in there, which is a seals off, and then also keeps the water from going into the block. You ever blow a head gasket, you'll get water into the engine block, get white smoke. And then you'd have to have your valve cover gasket go on. And if it's a Dodge, it's gonna leak. I got an old Dodge pickup truck, and it is absolute worst about the valve covers leaking on it. Just a nightmare. All right, we are rocking and rolling with this build. So we'll go ahead and put the water pump on, or excuse me, power steering pump on. Yep, and we'll hang the water pump. Could be twice as many bolts on that as they put in there. Oh, I don't have an alternator. Oh. Man, I did pretty good as far as what parts I bought. I mean, I just remembered the pulleys, and I got the serpentine belts, fuel filter, got the ignition coil. Oh no, I thought I pulled an ignition coil. I must have pulled a performance part. Got that, got the rotary button. Now this next part I could have no part for. I pulled a performance part on that. Either that or I pulled the wrong one. So let's see what else. Intake manifold. You have to get the right number of bolts for everything. That way you'd have to do bolt patterns. You know, there's no I'm not going to put that on there yet. That way, you know, somebody can't get mad at me for putting things on before I should. All right, so I need a alternator, I need a distributor cap, and I need the really, that's all I need, right? Alternator, distributor cap. So let's I probably have an alternator, but I'm just gonna go ahead and buy one. And we'll get the distributor cap here real quick. Oops. Where is that? Ignition, it's ignition cap, isn't it? Ignition distributor cap. Oops, gotta jump into it. Oh, I don't want to load anything in. I want to go here, and I wanted to go there, and I want to do this. Oh, I forgot the coil. That's the other piece that I needed. Now, before I put the wires on, I want to put the clips on. See, like, I'd love to be able to paint this engine. I'd love to be able to paint it and give it some sort of color. Jet black or something like that. All right, alternator on. Here we go. And put the belt on there. Excellent. And I'm going to call it right there. That's the last piece I'm going to put on there. We'll go ahead and put it in the box. Excuse me. Come on. Hit the right point. Thank you. There we go. And then we'll go set it into the car. And I didn't think I was going to use this. Oh well. I got a lot more accomplished than I thought I was going to. Install the engine into the car. There we go. They still have... Can't believe they still haven't fixed this. Oh, wait. Wait. Oh, screwballs. There we go. All right, so if you right click on it, it will go away, but it will lock the game up and you have to hit escape to get back into it. All right, so pretty good. All we got to do now is put the ignition coil on it. Excellent. Excellent. All right, so I need an ignition coil, and then we got to do the radiator and all that other stuff. But we'll do that in the next episode. We will call this quits right where we're at, and we will come back and we'll work on this a little bit more in our next video. We'll do the running gear on it, and we'll finish her up. But already we should have put a lot of value into this particular car. We're up to 21,000, so we'll make money on it. So anyways, thanks for watching today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smack that like button. And I hope that cleared up a little bit of barn finds for you as far as, you know, the mechanics involved in it, and get you a little bit more information about it. And like I said, some of it is possibly going to change. Who knows? Maybe they'll adjust it so that you can get more after you get to level 61. But at this point, it doesn't look like it. As always, guys, if you will, help me out. Smack that like button for me. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, join us for a live stream and get back into the swing of things. I took last week off to mess around with a couple other games that I was playing that weren't really going to fit the channel, but boy, I had fun playing them. So we should be back in the swing of things this week. So come join us for the live streams over on twitch.tv/Mr. Moose Gaming. And if you haven't followed us on Twitter, make sure you do over there as well. Links for everything are in the description down below. Till next time, everybody, thanks for coming out. I'll see you in the next episode when we finish up our Hellcat. Till then, stay safe. Have a great day. God bless you. Bye-bye.